Welcome to Flash CS5 tutorial 46. It's titled Dice 2 Players. It's a follow-up from Flash CS5 tutorial 41, which was Dice Part 2. And that's the FLA I have opened on my computer. And now what we're going to do is write the program that allow us to rotate from one player to the next and keeping track of whose turn it is. Going to start by selecting this top dice layer, and right here pick up this envelope. It says new folder, call it dice, and eventually we'll put those dice in there. Let's make sure all the layers are locked, and let's go on to back to frame 1. And if I look at frame 1, that has all the dice in it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, plus the dice. So let's unlock those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to be able to see the bottom of the stage, so I'm going to make it fits the window. And I'm going to grab this, and that should be grabbing all them dice. And I want to pull this down, right down to the bottom, and very close to the center, as close to the bottom, and still have a bit of room. And that should be on both frames. There it is. There, it's still there. That's good. Now we can lock all those layers. I now want to take this, click here to roll. I think that's called the roll button right here. Roll button. That's on frame 1, so make sure all the layers are locked. Select this layer, click this, and drag this roll, it's only on this one frame, down beside the dice. Okay, lock that layer, go to the next frame. This one here says reset. So that's the reset button. All the layers are locked except this one here now, this reset button. Frame 2, select it. And I want to leave a gap here because I want to put some more text in here. So take this reset and drag it over here. And that should be a good spot. And this you rolled, I believe that's the text right here. I believe that's this one here. Yeah. So again, make sure they're all locked. Select this you rolled one here and pull this down here. So it's going to say, it'll eventually say player 1 or player 2 you rolled, and it's going to say show the dice. While you have it selected, if not, use your selection tool. Get the crosshairs, right click, just copy this text, right click, paste it in place, put it over here, double click on it, and I'm just going to write in move, M-O-V-E, move, Y-O-U-R, move your, and I'm spacing it down, move your piece, P-I-E-C-E, period. Alright, I'm going to just bring that up a little bit. Whoops, using my arrow keys, just centering that there, locking all my layers. Now that I got my dice straightened out, I have this layer here that's the folder. I'm going to put all my dice just by dragging them to the right. There's 7 of them. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the one that's called dice. Just drag them over here and put them in that envelope, that new folder. So now that I have all these dice in this folder, before I close the folder, I want to pull this down and see as much of the timeline as I can. Click here, drag it, and select all them. Drag them one to the right. Now, this, select this top layer, insert a layer, and call it FRM NAM. This is the frame names are going in here. So select frame 2, right click, insert blank keyframe, and do the same with inserter. They can be blank keyframes or keyframes. Select this second frame, open up your properties panel, and call it roll, capital ROLL. And when we press enter, the little flag comes in there, tells us this has a label in it. And this one, call capital REST as in reset. That's what I'm calling it. Now that we have all these dice moved, we can close this folder, and now we got lots of room to work with. Select frame 1, open the actions panel, and put in these 4 variables. VARs. First one is dice, DICE, colon, it's a number, NUMBER, it turns blue, equals 0, semicolon, and there are 4 that you want to put in. This is called which player, capital W, capital P. It's equal to a -1. This variable is called player as in count, CONT, capital P, capital C. This is going to keep track of which one has the turn. And this number is equal to a 1. And the last one is for when we're moving the man, we want to stop the drag. So it's called capital S, capital D. And it's colon number, and it's equal to a 0 with a semicolon. Okay, we can close this, go back to the timeline, open up the second layer of the actions panel. This dice, we just put this on frame 1, so we don't need this. And right here, I want to type in a one line of play it's something called player text. We have to make this. It's called capital P LAYER underscore TXT. That's how I identify my text. Period TEXT, that should turn blue, equals. And we're going to make a string. And the string is just going to keep track of this player text name. So open bracket equals open bracket, quotation mark, capital PLAYER, space, close quotation. So that's going to be written in this text box, plus capital STRING, that turns blue, open bracket player count, PLAYER, capital CONT and a capital P, close bracket, and a semicolon. So this player text, when it's called up, it will say player and whatever numbers in count. It's either going to be a 1 or a 2, say it's player's 1's turn or it's player's 2 turn. Let's clean some of this stuff up. If we have this line in, let's take this out altogether. We're not going to be using this again. And let's just highlight or comment out this trace because we might need it. Let's come down here. Let's comment out this trace. I don't think we're ever going to need it again. And let's comment out this trace. And in here is where we're going to put our, I'm just going to use my backspace and get this up there. So inside this function start, which is called up by the button, let's start right here, and we got a whole bunch of text code to type in here. So here I go, type, and we'll go through it with you. So starting right here, it's an if statement, and there's one of those variables we made. It's called which player. So it's if open bracket which player equals 1. So if that which player is a 1, which it is, I think when we started it, it will allow us to work with player 1. So if it's equals 1, close bracket. There's the open curly bracket for the if. There's a closed curly bracket for my if. And if that's true, make this player count, P-L-A-Y-E-R, capital P, capital C-O-N-T, make that equal to a 1, semicolon. So that's going to keep track of it for us. At the same time, it's either this one's going to be true or this one's going to be true. So here's another if. If, on the other hand, open bracket, you can copy this switch player and bring it down here, but make sure that you put in a -1. So if which player, capital W, capital P, equals -1, close bracket, player count equals 2. Now you might say, well, why didn't we just change player count? It's a bit more difficult to go from 1 to 2 to 1 to 2 versus just having something go from a +1 to a -1, because all you have to do is to change a +1 to a -1 is multiply it by a -1. If you multiply it by a -1 again, you're back to a +1. So that's what I find the easiest. Player count equals 2, capital P, capital C, O-N-T, semicolon, and this is the open bracket for this if. This is the closed bracket for this if. And we got to do 2 more things inside of this start function. If we go with the which player equals which player, whatever it was, multiplied by -1, which I just explained a few minutes ago, semicolon. That's what flips it back and forwards. And this stop drag, we're going to throw it in now, but this is what's going to allow us to drag the men around and stop from dragging them when your turn is over. So capital STOP, capital DRAGE equals 1, semicolon. I believe that's all the code we need on this frame at this time. So let's go back to the timeline. Let's go to frame 3, open the actions panel, and right after this reset line here, we're going to insert a line, and we're going to put a whole bunch of code, type, to allow us to move the players. Type, whole bunch of typing going on. And there's that reset line that was there. So here's where we're going to start. Player 1 _ MC. We have to make this movie clip. We don't have it yet. So capital P, LAYER 1 _ MC, period, add event listener, open bracket, mouse event, period, mouse _down. That's all capitals. I think you know the routine here by now. If not, tell me I'm going too fast. Comma, capital DRAG, drag, close bracket, semicolon. So once you write that line, you can copy it. Then you can paste it down here. This stays the same, this stays the same, this stays the same right to here, except this time it's up, capital U, capital P, comma, drop, capital DROP, close bracket, semicolon. You can then paste it again. Make sure this time you call it player 2 _ MC, and this time again it's underscore capital DOWN, all capitals, comma, drag, capital DRAG 2. This is called drag 2 function. Close bracket, semicolon, paste it again, player 2 _ MC, make sure you have mouse _up, comma, drop, capital DROP 2, close bracket, semicolon, and this is the functions that we're calling up here. Function drag, open bracket, event, colon, mouse event, capital M, capital E, close bracket, colon, void. Here's this function. There's the open bracket for the function, and down here is the close bracket. There's the open bracket for the function, there's the close bracket for the function. We have an if statement. If, open bracket. Now, I might have more brackets than I need, but we're going to leave them in. No, I don't think so. Open bracket, open bracket. Which player, capital W, capital P, equals 1, close bracket. So there's one condition we need to have. We need it to be saying, I want it to be talking about player 1. And, two and signs. That means I have to have this to be true and this to be true to get inside of this function. So it's equals 1, close bracket, and open bracket. That's stop drag that we just made a 1 on frame 2, capital S, capital D, equals 1, close bracket, and there's the curly bracket for that if. There's the open curly bracket. There's the closed curly bracket for that if. And then it says event, E-V-E-N-T, period, target, period, target, T-A-R-G-E-T, period, start drag, small s, capital D, open close bracket, semicolon, and you should have two open brackets here, two closed brackets here, an open bracket here, and an open bracket here. Now you could copy that and repeat it, but I'm going to go through what we have. Now we're going to, this allowed us to pick up player 1. This is going to tell us to drop player 1. Function, drop, capital D-R-O-P, open bracket, event, colon, most event, close bracket, colon, void. There's the open bracket for the function. There's the closed bracket for the function. Event, E-V-E-N-T, period, T-A-R-G-E-T, period, S-T-O-P, drag, D-R-A-G, all one word, small s, capital D, open close bracket, semicolon, and there's the close bracket for that function. Now we got to do the same thing that we just did for number 2. So I'll go through it really quick. Function, drag 2, capital D, open bracket, event, colon, most event, close bracket, colon, void. There's the open bracket for the function. There's the two closed brackets. One's for that function, and the other one's this one here for the if. Inside of this function, we have an if. It's almost identical to up the top, except here we're checking for the +1, and here we're checking for a -1. If open bracket, which player equals -1, close bracket, and open bracket, the stop drag, small capital S, capital T, equals 1. That means we're not dragging something. Close bracket. Again, there's the open bracket for this if. The closed one's there. This target, event, period, target, period, start drag, small s, capital D, open close bracket, semicolon. These lines here, this event dot target, these are all blue, right up to the brackets. And finally, we said those two are closed brackets. Finally, the drop function for this number 2. Function drop 2, open bracket, event, colon, most event, colon, most event, close bracket, colon, void. There's the open bracket, there's the closed bracket, and there's that event, period, target, period, stop, drag, open, close, semicolon. Let's go back to the main timeline. Select, make sure all the layers are locked. Select this reset layer. Let's go down here, and let's first of all pick up the oval tool, a layer. Oops, get off there. I'm going to make a layer here, insert layer, and call it player 1. P-L-A-Y 1. That's player 1. Select frame 1 of this players, and I have the oval tool selected, and I'm going to make a long-ish type of a, no, I don't want that. Let's make the size 100. Come down here in this corner-ish. I don't want black. I want a color that's a nice color. I'm going to keep that, my oval tool, and right here I'm going to make a longish oval. Pick up my text tool. Make this black now, and make a number 1. And as long as it fits inside of here, I'm alright with it. Select that text, open my properties panel, and make it a little bit smaller. There we go. And I'm just using my arrow keys. To put it down there. That's player 1. Make sure you highlight the whole thing again. Modify, convert it to a symbol. Make sure it's movie clip, and PLAYER1_MC. We already wrote the code for this. Copy that name, right click, copy it, so that we can paste it and use it as an instance name right here. Lock it, lock that layer, open up another layer, do the same thing, PLAY2. Now this time again we're going to have the oval tool. I want a different color. I'm going to make it a greenish color. This time I'm making a sort of vertically oval, so when they overlap you can see the other one. Pick up my text tool, pick up black for my text. I know the size is good, and make this a 2. Highlight it using my arrow keys, putting that in the position where it should be. Okay, now how's that look? Yeah, that's good. Lock all those layers. Select player 2 layer if you haven't got it. Insert and call this PLAY as in player, TEXT, player text. This is one that says this is a certain player. Pick up your text tool. Make sure you have dynamic text. And let's go with 14 points for now and make a text box. Pick up your selection tool and put that down to the bottom. That's where I'm putting it. It has name, and in here give it that name, PLAYER_TXT. We already wrote this code. Now I'm thinking maybe we didn't. Let's just check something. I don't think I gave this player 2 an instance name. I don't even think I made it the movie clip, did I? Put here for a minute. Oh, I didn't make player 2 a movie clip yet. Okay, so highlight the whole thing. Make sure it's. I opened up the player 2, unlocked it. Select frame 1, making sure the whole thing is highlighted. Modify, convert it to a symbol. PLAYER2, Shift_MC. Copy it, and that will be the instance name. Let's go back to this player text box, this one right here. Unlock that layer. Make sure it's the only one that's unlocked. Make sure you click it and embed it. That's the first thing we got to do. Embed that. And this will come up. Click this all, and up here you can't see if this is the OK box. Click that. Now we made these labels up here, so let's go into the library. Let's pick up the dice movie clip, I believe, and in the later frames here, I think it's this one right here, where you say go to frame 2. Well, we actually made that frame 3, and we called it reset. We call it reset, R-E-S-T, I believe that's what we called, and you got to put that in quotations. So that's in quotations, and I think there's one more spot that we did that. Let's go back to the main timeline. Scene 1, and the third layer of the action script. Down the very bottom of that it says go to and play 1, and we moved it to 2 because we inserted those blank keyframes, and we actually called this roll. So open quotation, capital R-O-L-L, close quotation, and let's give this a test. No errors, that's good. And it says, player 1, click here to roll the dice. You click them, they roll. Okay, somehow we gotta get rid of that. It would say player 1, you, oh, I know it's going to be. Let's go back to the main timeline. And right here, when we pull this over, you may have had this happen too. This third frame of this roll button, there shouldn't be, that should be empty. So click on it, right click, clear the frame. Now let's give this a test. Everything looks good. Test this movie. Player 1, click here to roll dice. Dice rolls. Player 1, you rolled a 5, move your piece. So your player 1, you can't get 2, that's that stop drag. There, that works. Click here, reset the dice. Then it says player 2, click here to roll the dice. You roll, player 2, you rolled a 3, move your piece. You would move your piece, you can't move this one, see how that works? And then you would be over and over and over again. You could use this on any board game you make. I hope you learned something from this tutorial, and I hope you use what you learn.